What is this? Famous YouTuber Zeradars quit her PhD and become an OnlyFans content creator full-time. She used to make videos about neural networks, machine learning, and other tech stuff. She will now be making content of a different genre.
I've dropped out of my PhD. I've cried so much over this decision to quit my PhD, you know, because it's a stressful decision, not that I'm particularly sad about it. I'll get into all of that in a bit later, but moving on to doing OnlyFans and content creation full-time, it's not just a career choice, it feels kind of like a gamble on the direction of my entire life. Some days I wonder if I'm making the right choice. You know, when I open LinkedIn and I see the pages of all of the people who are my age, who already have 3 years into their careers and are climbing the ladder with senior level titles, it stirs something in me. I start to feel a twinge of jealousy, imagining what it would be like in their place. I've spent the last couple of years in grad school, whereas many of my colleagues from undergrad got jobs directly afterwards. So I guess
why y'all say it's AI? This is like the new thing that like dumb people do, is that every single time that they see something that feels or seems robotic, they start spamming AI.
Always have those advanced degrees with me, but I can't say that I don't like the idea of wearing a polished suit and walking into an office where I have people working with me and working on a project, or even the alternative route of becoming a professor and having students work for me, where I have my own lab and I teach my own course. And the thought of sitting with my team to come up with solutions to a certain problem, or even find something new, learn something new, and then applying that knowledge. And writing papers gives a sense of fulfillment, you know? There's some sort of camaraderie in those environments and a structure that I think I'd enjoy. And of course, not to mention the outfits. I mean, come on. I have so many professional outfits that have never...
Well, now you can use the professional outfits. It's not the same way, but you can still use the professional outfits.
Seen the light of day, just because I have nowhere to wear them to.
Like the roleplay content's super popular.
And of course I keep buying them. And part of me wonders if I'll miss the chance to experience that life and that lifestyle. But then I start to think about some of the trade-offs. Those same people whose lifestyles I thought I envied are tied to someone else's vision and someone else's pace. They'll spend their lives working for a company, doing things that they don't necessarily enjoy. And of course, without the recognition that they deserve.
I don't think you're going to get a lot of recognition for doing OnlyFans. I mean, like, people hate OnlyFans. I feel like that's something that's going to happen. Like, it really doesn't... The thing is that if you live your life looking for recognition from other people, you'll never be happy.
Work might win someone else fame and wealth, while they stay in the background, expendable. They'll constantly worry about getting laid off, planning their lives around their salaries, budgeting to pay bills, and likely renting a place to live or being tied down to a 30-year mortgage. Vacations are rationed and squeezed into limited paid time off days. My path, on the other hand, is different. It's freer in ways that feel both liberating and, to be honest, a little terrifying. I'm no longer bound by the expectations of an academic institution or the constraints of a corporate office.
I feel like that's also like, but you're still going to be bound by the constraints of a bunch of like 45-year-old men, right? And so, like, is that really better than a bunch of educated 45-year-old men? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it really depends on what you want to do.
Comfortably wake up each day and decide what I want to learn, diving into topics that genuinely interest me and not just those deemed important by a funding agency or a company's bottom line. And when it comes to research, I'm no longer bound by the pressure to publish for the sake of tenure or grant applications.
Well, you're still publishing, right? It's just on a different website, but yeah.
can write papers independently, not because I need to meet a quota, but because I genuinely want to contribute to something. Everything that I create will reflect my own ideas, my own creativity, and my own ambitions. And of course, the best part is that everything I build will be entirely my own. I'm not contributing to someone else's legacy or bottom line. I'm building my own brand and my own future. And all of
There's no future in doing OnlyFans. Any girl that does it, like, that falls off a cliff at 30. It's just biology. It's just the way it is. It just goes down by, like, probably 20% every single year after that. Some girls are hotter at 35 than 20. I mean, sure, right? And that's always, hey, there's always going to be exceptions. But, like, we're not talking about exceptions. Like, this is, what do we think about exceptions for? I'm talking about, like, on an average.
Effort that I put directly benefits me. The rewards are mine to enjoy. For example, although my OnlyFans has been a side project while I pursued my PhD, I've been able to make over $1 million.
That's a
With
lot.
that, I helped my family pay off their mortgage. I bought myself
OnlyFans makes a lot of money for, like, a handful of girls. Like, no, it's true. They make a lot of money. Now, obviously, like, a lot of girls don't make that much money, and, like, the majority of them don't. It's not like if you are... You know, like, if you're an attractive female, like, you're just instantly going to be a millionaire. But the reality is that a lot of them do make a lot of money. Of course they do.
car, and thankfully I avoided taking out any student loans.
She's also insanely attractive. Yeah, and this is the thing, right? Is, like, the girls that can do this. So, like, if you have a genetic extremity, then there are going to be, like, extra opportunities that exist. But that's not really a normal thing that you can expect.
Now I have an investment portfolio, and I'm planning on buying my own house soon.
Yeah, there's tons of girls that do OnlyFans make tons of money, though. It does happen.
All of these achievements are just reminders of the tangible rewards of carving my own path and the freedom that comes with it. But even with this freedom, I am genuinely terrified. I fear not having that external competition, no one to measure myself against, and that it will make...
What do you mean? You can just measure yourself against other girls. Guys do that all the time. Like, yeah, go stream on Twitch. You get measured against every other person on the website. Easy. Problem solved.
Make me complacent. Will I push myself enough without the pressure to outperform others? And of course, there's also the opposite case, that my drive for more will take over. What if I never feel satisfied, always chasing that next milestone, the next goal? Will I lose sight of myself and values in that relentless pursuit? Of course,
I think that's something that, like, if you do that, that's totally on you, right? Like, if you're the kind of person that, like, getting to certain benchmarks makes you happy, if that happens to you more than twice, the reality is that you're probably just looking for something to fill a hole in your own life. You know, like, and it's like, really, there's no benchmark that's really going to make you happy. Thanks for 5 subs, man. Thank you.
I want to enjoy the life I'm building and feel the rewards of my labor, not just keep pushing forward endlessly. Then there's also the fear of settling. What if I get stuck in a place that feels just right, but not great? What if I accept less than I know I'm capable of? And what if, in trying to avoid that, I push myself into something that I'm not entirely comfortable with, forcing myself to fit in a mold that doesn't feel natural? It's overwhelming, but when I look at the bigger picture, I know I'm better off than most people my age, or even those that are far older than I am. That's part of why
making $1 million and she's like in her 20s or 30s, yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
I chose to leave academia.
Probably at least like
just
the top
for
half,
some
right?
reference, a professor in the US earns around $100,000 on average, but the job isn't what most people imagine it to be, or at least it's not what I thought it would be. Instead of spending their time diving into or contributing to new ideas in the field, most of their energy is spent writing grant proposals and fighting for funding.
I'm not crazy.
Which, based on my first-hand experience working with several professors, These funds often go to those at more prestigious universities, regardless of whether they're more qualified. Additionally, their students often do majority of the hands-on work, and the professor acts more as an administrator. It's a life filled with constraints and obligations, not the idealized pursuit of knowledge I once dreamed of. So what about working in the industry? Well, the reality is that it's no better. Big tech, for all its allure of innovation and opportunity, is a world where the individual contributions are mostly invisible. The work you pour your heart into is rarely attributed to you. Instead, it pads the pockets of the executives who sit at the top, taking the credit and the glory for your work. Employees are treated as interchangeable, expendable. Every job
I think that, like, really, I mean, that's the same thing. I mean, everybody's expendable, everybody's interchangeable. That's just the way it is. But like, if you're unhappy about the way that, like, you know, you get treated as an employee, I think you're going to be really unhappy about the way that you get treated as an OnlyFans model. That's the way I see it, right? Because, like, a lot of the people treat those girls like meat. That's it. And like, I feel like, you know, you're kind of running yourself into a problem.
With that silent anxiety of layoffs, the knowledge that your position is only as secure as the next quarterly earnings report, it's a precarious, thankless existence, one that I think would stifle my creativity and autonomy. I know that I'm choosing something harder, but in the end, more fulfilling. This journey isn't easy, but it's entirely mine. I wasn't born into a wealthy family or handed opportunities on a silver platter. Every step forward I take,
I think being an attractive female is definitely an opportunity that people are given, and it's not really something that you earn. It's just it's just RNG, right?
Milestone I reach will be the result of my own vision. That thought on its own is intimidating, but obviously it's also incredibly empowering. It's a reminder that I have the freedom to carve out a life of my own on my own terms. A freedom that so many people will never experience because they're just too afraid to break the norms that are set by society.
That's not the reason.
Perhaps
that's not the reason. The reason why other people don't do that is because they're not, people wouldn't pay money to see them. It's actually really simple, right? And so, like, if you can't look at why somebody would, like, most people can't do OnlyFans because they're not attractive. Like, that's just the way it is. And so, like, it's really a survivorship bias that you see with this, because a lot of the girls that do it are, like, in the top 5 to 1% of appearance. Like, they are. I mean, I've been to Walmart. You been to Walmart? I've been to Target. You been to Target? I've been to Home Depot. Have you been to Home Depot? Let's be honest here.
Importantly, I need to learn to be kinder to myself. I have the tendency to be overly critical, always pushing myself to do more, to be better. But I'm realizing that this growth doesn't always come from harshness. It also comes from compassion. And I know that if I want to thrive in this new chapter, I need to give myself permission to rest, to make mistakes, and learn from them without the guilt or self-punishment. This life I'm building is like a masterpiece in progress. Every choice I make, every challenge I face, and every success I achieve will be a reflection of me. There's no blueprint, no guarantees, but that's what makes it exciting. It's mine to create, and I know deep down that it'll be worth it.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. It's probably a better idea for a girl to do OnlyFans than to get a normal job, because it just makes so much money if you're, like, top 1% attractiveness. I think that's definitely true. Because, like, if you make, let's say, $2 million in the time that you have OnlyFans, Like, you're making that, a lot of that money, you're going to be able to invest into like residual funds that pay you out on a regular basis. And you're going to be able to live the rest of your life and never have to work, right? And so you can work after that. Maybe it would fuck up your employment, maybe not, but there's always going to be ways that people can find to make money. And so it's definitely the right decision to make. People might not want to hear that, but that's it. Now, a lot of people were unhappy about this, and it's got 900 comments on my subreddit, so I wonder why. It gives people the idea that women have it way too easy. Nah, women don't have it easy. See, like, I remember this whenever I was in school. So, like, I've always been able to remember things really, really, really well. And I remember in school, like, I would have friends that would study for tests, and they would forget it. And I would never study, and I would get a 100 on the test. Every single time this would happen. They would work their ass off, I would do nothing. I would win, they would lose. Why is that? Fucking RNG. That's the reason why. But at the same time, my fucking head is balding, right? Like, I'm not perfect, but there are some things that I have that are very advantageous. So life is not fair. So if people get mad, like anybody who's complaining that life isn't fair while you're speaking English on an internet that you're probably using with a high-speed internet connection, life has been very fair to you. Like, you have a massive amount of advantages in the world that literally over 1 billion people will never have access to. And probably more than that, billions. And so we're not going to hear about this bullshit, right? People love to cry and shit, but that's the reality. And so anyway, this is really the way I see it. Let's see here. From PhD to STD, woman moment. It's not a woman moment. Like, it's the same, like any guy, like, I mean, think about it, like for me. So I was in business school. I had pretty much like perfect grades almost. But like I had really good grades. I was going to go to law school. I had the GPA for it. I had everything ready. But you know what I decided to do? I decided to drop out and play World of Warcraft. That's right. So how can I go and criticize and talk down to somebody like this when I put myself in the exact same position? That's the way I see it, because it works. Because it's the path of least resistance. And that's just the way it is. And at the end of the day, no one's going, like, somebody's respect is a currency that is worth nothing. There's no value in a person's respect. You know who thinks their respect is worth a lot? The person who's doing the respecting. Nobody else cares. So I look at it, and I see the world, and I decide, yeah, I'm going to do what I think is best for me, and the way it is for other people, that's their fucking problem. So yeah,